Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. I'm Rosa and this is Lipstick and Linguine, and I try on all of the makeup so you don't have to. Today we're talking about a brand new brand to Sephora. We're talking about Pretty Vulgar today, and they've just launched in Sephora, both in store and online, and I thought I would show you a couple of products. I think what we're actually going to focus on today is the Throwing Shade eyeshadow palette in this shade here. This is Phoenix Rising. I'll show you how the shadows perform and I'll give you my thoughts on this, and while we're here we'll talk about a couple of other products such as the highlighter and the lipstick. So first things first, let's have a look at this palette up close and personal. I'll show you what the shades look like in the pan and also swatch them for you. So here is the palette. It did come with a slip cover that came over this, but I did dispose of that once I started using the palette. So the palette is like a flip here. We've got some information on the back, just where it's made and some contact details. No names or anything like that. There's just a message there, and it's quite a pretty looking palette. It's cardboard, it feels quite sturdy, and let's open it up. Okay, so the palette has a large mirror in a cutout cardboard section there. We can see it says Pretty Vulgar. And then a lot of the palettes have this almost ornate birdcage design. And you can see that all of the pans are different shapes and different sizes. And up the top here we have Untamable, which is like a taupey shimmer. We have Always Rising, which is a peachy nude matte. Then we have Slay, which is a little bit warmer than Untamable. Let's have a look at those three shades. They're all really soft to the touch. Then we have some richer tones here. We have Fierce Desire, which is a coppery shimmer. We have Is Fire, a very warm, almost terracotta, maybe warmer than terracotta shade. My Ash is like a mid-tone leaning towards darker matte. And then Light My Fire. It's a nice dark chocolate kind of shade. Let's look at those four shades. So that's a pretty basic, warm kind of colour story. Let's have a look at the next shades. So next we have Seduction Reborn and we have Resurrected Sin. Quite a dark theme here, isn't it? Next we have Devilish Darling, Blowing Smoke and Fly By Night. Quickly, before we get started on the eyes, I just want to give you some information. So this palette retails for $52. There are 4 varieties in this range. I've got the Phoenix Rising, as I said. It is a fairly expensive brand when you consider the amount of shadows that you do get. Just talking about some of the other products, the highlighter is $48 and the lipsticks are $37. So it is getting up there in price. In terms of packaging, I think, well, I really like how kind of compact and sturdy these are. I think for $52, I expect something more than cardboard, but having said that, if the shadows inside perform really, really well, then I don't worry so much about that. I feel like a $48 highlighter, I feel like the packaging is just a little bit like plasticky feeling. It might look really luxe sort of on camera, but the plastic feels quite cheap. There's no mirror, which is fine because it lets you see the colour inside. But as a whole, the components don't feel like they haven't spent money on these components, I don't think. On the other hand, the lipstick packaging is absolutely pretty. It's got like floral that's then cut up with some rose gold banding. These are matte lipsticks. This shade here is called Honest Truth. These are the Bury Them With a Smile matte lipsticks, and I actually haven't used this one yet. I have used the palette numerous times and I've also used the highlighter numerous times. So hopefully what you were able to see from the swatches is that there's two main color stories here in this palette. I feel like the palette can be sort of broken into two different compartments. We have the sort of warm neutrals up the top, and then down the bottom we have shades that are sort of leaning more towards a berry kind of look. And both of those color stories really are something that I like. And I am particularly fond of sort of some berry shades. So what I thought we could do today is two eye looks using both sides of the palette. I just want to let you know that I've just come back from work and it's like a 36-degree day today. I haven't done anything to my makeup, so this is what it looks like at the end of the day. I've also got some mascara on and it's kind of smudged around my eyes, so my eyes look a little bit dark. But I really wanted to get this review up for you because I thought that a lot of you might like this palette for the upcoming holidays. So I've got concealer and powder remaining from the day when I actually didn't wear any eyeshadow at all today. But what I did is I just laid down a little bit more powder so that the shadows have something to glide over. So let's zoom in a little bit and have a look at how these apply. Like I said, please ignore the smudging of mascara and the makeup that maybe doesn't look as fresh as it usually does. So starting off, we're going to go with this kind of peachy shade here. It's very light and I'm going to actually use it on both eyes. The texture of the eyeshadows, there's quite a lot that gets picked up and it is a little bit powdery. And there's actually quite a lot of fallout here. I feel like I have a pretty good idea of quality by this point after so many years of using makeup and also reviewing makeup. I feel like I've got, like I said, a pretty good idea of quality. But at the same time, because I'm not a makeup artist, I feel like if I can get something to work for me, it means that generally most consumers will. And when I really, really struggle with a palette, not that I'm struggling with this, I feel like that's when things get a bit problematic. But by all means, that doesn't mean that I'm the be all and end all. And sometimes I like things that others don't and vice versa. There's actually quite a lot of fallout there. I'm going to just dust that away with a clean brush. I'm then going to go into my ash and I'm going to put that in the crease just on one side. And this is quite a large blending brush, but I will switch over to a smaller one to get a little bit more precise later. And that is blending in really, really quite seamlessly. I will do some more blending a little bit later. Build that up just a little bit more. I found that the shadows are quite buildable, and personally, I've said this in many videos, but personally, again, as someone who works every day and works like in an office kind of environment, I can't wear crazy makeup looks, or I choose not to wear crazy makeup looks. And so something that's buildable is more valuable to me than something that puts color down straight away and then you can't really go back from there. So I don't mind when shadows are a little bit less pigmented. And again, I'm not saying that that's the case with this, but I think you might find that when we get down to this part here, that is the case with some of these shadows. But again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm going to pick up some Is Fire and I'm really just tapping my brush in, and I'm going to concentrate that here on the inner corner as well, and I'll just pat that in. More fallout. I'm going to light my fire and put a little bit of that on the outer corner. And then I'm going to grab a clean brush and blend that in a little bit. I'll grab that original shade and try and buff this out a bit. I'm going to grab a little bit of concealer and put that on my lid and then use a shimmer over that. I'm going to then grab Fierce Desire on my finger and then Slay and put that just in the center. I'm going to grab my ash on a small brush, pencil brush. On this side, I'm going to start off with Seduction Reborn. Now this is a shimmer, but it comes off looking quite like a satin on the eye. And don't forget, I did actually place that peach colour in the crease already. And let's see how this goes. This will be a different look for me. I've never tried this look. I think you can probably already tell that one of my criticisms of this palette is going to be the fallout, but if you are someone who typically does their eye makeup first, then it's not going to be something that affects you so much. I'm then going to grab Blowing Smoke, and we're going to get quite smoky here. So this brand is all about contradictions. So the palettes look really pretty and very girly, feminine, quite proper, maybe you might say, but then some of the shade names and some of the imagery they use is quite a little cheeky, and I suppose that's really even reflected in the name of the brand, Pretty Vulgar. I'm going to grab the purple shade and I'm going to place that all over the lid, and this shade lacks some pigmentation, but it adds a little bit more colour to some of these bottom shades. I'm actually going to spritz it now. And I think you can see what I meant by adding some colour, because it does have a bluish shift to it. Quite a smoky kind of purple eye. Can you see how that dark shade has really closed this eye up though? We're going to have to blend some of that out and fix that. I'm going to grab some of that Resurrected Sin on this pencil brush, place it underneath, and then once again just blend out the edges. Alright, so if I was doing anything other than just demoing the palette for you and then washing it all off, I would most likely have done some liner and some false lashes, but literally I am just doing this video. I'm obviously not going to go anywhere with two different eye looks. So I'm just going to apply some more mascara so you can see kind of what it looks like with sort of lashes. So I've kept both eyes quite separate. Now obviously in using this palette you can use both sides of the palette together. On this eye here, what I typically would then do is go in and put like a gold or something shimmery on the lid to really open up the eye, because you can see how much smaller this eye looks. But just for the purpose of this video I have done the two different sides kind of separately. So here are my final thoughts on this palette. I think $52 is a little steep for this palette. I know that we do pay a lot more here in Australia than they do in the States, and that seems to be kind of true of Sephora in Australia more than Mecca. I think when you compare the quality of this palette to something like the Zoeva palettes, I think the quality is comparable, and of course these are cheaper. As I said before, some of the shades are quite pigmented and give you really a dramatic look very quickly. Others are very much buildable shades, and depending on what your preferences are, you might feel good or bad about either of those things. I do really like the colour sort of story featured here. I think it's something that's very, very much wearable for a lot of people, but this is sort of another warm palette with a pop of colour. What I really want to do is add a lighter shimmer on the lid here to open my eye back up, because it does look a little closed, and this is typically why I don't wear a lot of bold colour on the lid, because I already do have quite small eyes and it really does close them up a lot more. This dark look is going to start looking even darker now because I'm going to add lipstick, and this is the lipstick in Honest Truth and it's a very dark shade. Let's see how this goes. It glides on really nicely, even though it's a matte. It's not dry. It's quite a firm lipstick. Okay, so Halloween was yesterday, but I'm channeling some Halloween vibes right now. The Shimmering Swan highlighter, which is a great name for a highlighter by the way, is quite a nice product. This is in the shade 126 Glow Up. It's really quite a thick formula, so you pick up quite a lot just with a swatch, and it does have quite a lot of shine and payoff there. I do recommend these. I think they're really, really lovely, but again, the price is up there at $48. Just showing you these shadows up close. Obviously I've done this a little quickly, so it's not the best blending in the world, But I wanted to show you, I guess, the true colours up close. This is all natural lighting. As I said, I have worn this palette quite a few times, and I think the longevity is up there with most other shadows. I haven't found that they've faded or worn off in any patchy kind of way. And just to finish off, a word about manufacturing. These say that they are manufactured or made in the USA and then assembled in the Dominican Republic. So you're getting the formula of the actual shadows are to US standards, which is a good thing. And the whole brand is actually cruelty free. As a whole, I think Pretty Vulgar is a brand that you might like to check out. I like the shadows. I think the only criticism that I have is that there is quite a lot of fallout. I think the colour payoff is good. I think there's a varying amount of shimmers and mattes and different kind of intensities. You saw the purple was quite a sheer shadow with that shifting colour, but then some of the other purples had really high intensity payoff. I think it's definitely worth a look if you're looking to sort of expand into new brands, or if this kind of aesthetic really kind of appeals to you. And I personally haven't seen these in store yet, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. I'd like to actually have a look at some of the other sort of palettes to see whether or not there's something there that I would like. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but these three products were all gifted to me in PR by Sephora, and there will be links down below to buy these products. I want to let you know that just in the last video or two, after I filmed the videos, I actually was given an affiliate code or link to Sephora. By all means, don't feel like you need to use my links. It just tracks what you purchase as my recommendation, and then I think I get a very small commission from that. Having said that, it doesn't mean that my reviews are going to be any better or worse than they already were. As you can see, there are things that I really like about this palette, there are things that I don't like about this palette, and that's not going to change. But I just wanted to put it out there that those links are affiliate links, and they're marked as affiliate links so that you know. I want to be completely honest with you. And look, I understand some people are really uncomfortable with using those links, and that's absolutely fine. Feel free just to go straight to sephora.com.au and type in Pretty Vulgar, and you can purchase through there as well. At this point, it doesn't really make that much difference to me. I'm not really making any money from YouTube or blogging or anything like that. So it's just a thing. Okay, so much blabbering. All right, please let me know what you think about the performance of these shadows. Let me know if you've tried anything from this brand, particularly those of you that are in the US, because I know this has been out for a while. Aussie girls and boys, let me know if you are going to pick anything up from the range, or if there's anything you have your eye on, or just come say hi. Let's leave it there. As usual, thank you so much for coming and spending a little bit of time with me in my little corner of the internet. I will see you next time. Bye.